All right, everyone. This isn't bug news. This is actually old news, but it is invertebrate-related news that I found interesting. One, because this is actually one of the animals that I really like, and two, I didn't realize that they were from. You could find them in the Texas area. These are blue dragon sea snails or sea slugs. I thought these were tropical. I didn't realize that they were found all over the world. And they apparently, in the springtime, occasionally wash up on shore in Texas. And this is from the North Padre Island. Um, these blue dragons had started washing up on shore in huge numbers. And apparently, they do this relatively often. I wasn't aware of this when I was living in Texas. I wish I had known. I would have gone and collected a few. For those of you who are not familiar with these, the blue dragons are nudibranch sea slugs. So this is in fact a slug, and the nudibranchs frequently have this sort of sea dragon look to them. They're very frilly, like with all these little finger appendages called serrata. And what's interesting about these is that they're very poisonous, and they're poisonous because they are part of their biology. They're pelagic species. They float around in the open ocean, where they feed on jellyfish. And when they find jellyfish, other than eating them, they take their stinging cells called cnidocytes, and those stinging cells pass through the digestive system of the blue dragon, and they get deposited into these frilly serrata fingers that come off in various directions off of the sea slug. And those cnidocytes get concentrated along the tips of these, and if you touch these little fingers that they have, you'll get a terrible sting, much worse than any single jellyfish, because it's concentrated all these stinging cells from all of the jellyfish it's been eating. In other species related to this, you can see it more clearly. These are called cnidosacs, and these are where the cnidocytes get concentrated. So these little tips are all stinging appendages. So they're quite painful, but they are very, very beautiful. So feel free to look, but don't touch if you find these hanging around. I didn't realize this, but apparently these species, this one is Glaucus atlanticus, but there are other Glaucus species all over the place. Because they just kind of float around in the open ocean, you can actually find them all over the world, and they show up in Europe and in Africa and North and South America. I always associated them with Australia, but apparently they're just found all over the place. I've only ever seen living nudibranchs once. Someone brought them into my lab once, not knowing what it was. I guess they had kept a saltwater aquarium at home, and they had ordered some coral, and one of these was living in the coral, and they didn't know what it was. They thought they had some sort of infestation, and they wanted me to figure out what it was. And I knew what it was immediately. But it's the only one I had ever seen alive. The one that they brought in, I'm not sure what the species was. It was a bright pink. It wasn't this blue color. But it makes sense now because these are jellyfish feeders. Coral are very closely related to jellyfish, so it was just feeding on the cnidocytes of the jellyfish for its own protection. So I thought this was really interesting news coming out of Texas. I'll post the article in the link. It's not new. I think this article is from March. But if you're interested in marine mollusks, which I very much am interested in marine mollusks, this is something to keep an eye on if you are interested in going to see some of them or collecting them. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.